His wife is very cold. After many years of marriage, she has never said she loves me. Even an accidental touch from me would make her furious. If I so much as stepped into her room, she would grab a lamp and throw it at me. Once, after I got drunk and stumbled into her room, she grabbed the bowling ball from her bedside table and threw it at me, yelling, bringing that stench of alcohol into my room, "Who doesn't know what you're thinking? Get out of my sight right now!" As the door slammed shut, blood streamed down my head, but all I could do was shake my head and force a bitter smile. After all these years, she still hated me so much. The door, slammed shut so violently, nearly clipped the tip of my nose. The warmth I felt trickling down my head instantly sobered me up a little. Since we got married, I've never had the chance to step into her room. To me, it was like forbidden ground. She always said she wasn't ready and asked me to give her more time to adjust. But the moment I showed the slightest hint of intimacy, she would immediately become stone-faced, reacting with exceptional intensity. Tonight, while drinking, my friend Chenyu brought this up. He laughed and said I was too innocent. He said it was normal to think this way when dating in your youth, but after so many years of marriage, it was a bit unreasonable. After all, when two people who love each other are deeply in love, they naturally cherish those intimate moments. He implied that her behavior was a huge deal, and if she truly loved me, she wouldn't act this way. Chenyu's underlying meaning was clear. Although a moment of doubt flickered in my heart, I still firmly said, "I trust her, I'll give her more time." I didn't expect to return home, only wanting to check if she was there, and end up with a head injury. A question popped into my mind. The Shen family's education isn't feudal or conservative, so why is she so repellent to the closeness of her husband of many years? Could it be exactly what Chenyu said? The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt. After simply treating the wound on my head, I returned to the guest room where I have always stayed. Looking out the window at the starry night, I lit a cigarette, trying to calm the panic in my heart. The next morning, I got up early to prepare the clay pot lean meat porridge that Shenyu Yu loved most. After all, I had been somewhat reckless after drinking last night. Because of this, I had sent her many apology messages late at night and even specially ordered a gift for her online. After I finished everything, she still hadn't come out of her room. I remembered that she was usually up by this time, but I absolutely dared not go near her room. It wasn't until noon that I finally received a message from her. "Bring me and Xiaoyu 2 milk teas from the nail salon we usually go to." So she had gone out early this morning to meet her best friend? Regardless, receiving her message instantly lifted my spirits. I immediately changed clothes and went out to buy the milk tea from the specified store. In my mind, a wife should be pampered. As I excitedly rushed to the entrance of the nail salon, the conversation between Shenyu Yu and her friend Xiaoyu hit me like a bucket of ice water, instantly extinguishing my enthusiasm. "You mean he got drunk last night and barged into your room? And you cracked his head open with a lamp?" Xiaoyu said in a startled tone. "Your reaction was a bit too harsh, wasn't it? He's been your husband for so many years." "So what?" Shen Yuia's voice was very cold, and she sounded angry. "He doesn't deserve to touch me." Hearing this, my heart went cold. The milk tea in my hand almost dropped. "Yu, are you planning to never let him touch you?" Xiaoyu pressed on. Shen Yuiyu fell silent. My heart was high in my chest, anxiously awaiting her answer. Her reply, however, felt like a 1,000-pound punch slamming into my chest. Quote, "I am saving my most beautiful first time for Songjiang." Songjiang? Didn't he go abroad a long time ago? Shen Yuia's voice seemed to carry a hint of surprise. "He messaged me the night before last, saying he missed me, and he'll be back soon to find me." My ears started buzzing, and I felt as if my body was weightless. I had never doubted her all these years, yet now I heard these words come clearly from her own mouth. I had always thought she just wasn't ready and was willing to give her more time. But now I realized that her refusal of intimacy and her distant behavior were just to keep herself pure for her white moonlight. Suddenly, I felt so tired. I don't want to love Shen Yuye anymore. Are my years of devotion enough to repay the kindness of the Shen family? Since her heart already belongs to someone else, there's no need for me to continue being a clingy clown. It's better to grant her freedom and let myself go. With my mind made up, I was about to push the door open and speak to her clearly, but I quickly stopped. Although Shen Yuye hurt me, the Shen family had truly been kind to me. Even if we divorced, it shouldn't be done in a scandalous way to maintain the Shen family's reputation. My Fang family was once glorious, but the year I was about to graduate, the Fangxi group was dismantled by a scheme set up by the few people my father trusted the most. The entangled interests were extremely complex. Many people who had once envied the Fang family began to undermine us. The relatives who used to surround us vanished without a trace. After selling our cars and houses to pay off all the liquidated damages and fines, my family's savings were scarce. We moved from a large house to a small one, then into a dark basement, and finally we were forced to live under bridges and in parks. After suffering huge setbacks and blows, coupled with days of hunger and cold, my parents quickly fell ill. I knelt before my former friends, the ones who had enjoyed life with me, begging them to lend me money for medical treatment, but they showed me no kindness, only various forms of mockery and abuse. I remember that cold night. I watched my severely ill parents slowly lose their vitality. In her final moments, my mother, with a trembling and weak voice, said her last words to me. "Ayuan, your father and I are sorry. You must live well. You will make a name for yourself one day." As soon as she finished speaking, her hand lost its strength and slipped to the ground. I knelt on the floor, holding them and crying heartbreakingly, but no matter how I cried, they couldn't look at me one more time. They were gone, and I lost my will to live. But I couldn't forget what my mother told me. I was the only one left in the Fang family. I had to make a name for myself, crush all the people who harmed my family back then, and make everyone who gloated over our misfortune or mocked us bow their heads respectfully to me. Later, I finally got an opportunity to climb up. Father Shen found me. Not only did he help me handle my parents' funerals, but he also took me back to the Shen family and let me work at the Shen group. From then on, with endless ambition, I relied on the Shen group's resources to rise step by step. I learned to play both sides, met many important people, and gradually became an indispensable pillar of the company. Because of this debt of gratitude, even if I divorce, I must do it privately and try my best to protect the Shen family's reputation. With this thought, I tried to adjust my mood, put a smile on my face, and pushed the door open. "Yu, I brought your milk tea." Shen Yuye didn't give me a pleasant look. She took the milk tea and continued with her manicure. I stayed with them as they shopped in the mall, and soon my hands were full of shopping bags. In between, Xiao Yu would occasionally look at me with a very complex gaze, as if she were looking at a clown kept in the dark, mixed with sarcasm and ridicule. It wasn't until evening that the two of them reluctantly parted ways. Shen Yuyu and I went to the parking lot and got into the car. With no one else around, I finally spoke, "Let's get a divorce." Shen Yuye seemed stunned, staring at me. I continued, "Our marriage has long been in name only, hasn't it? You have no love for me. You just reluctantly married me because you followed your family's arrangement. I think divorce would be the best ending for us." Shen Yueyu turned her head to look out the window. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "I want to go home." She refused to answer, and I didn't press her further. Unexpectedly, having said what I needed to say, I felt much lighter inside. The entire drive home was silent. Once we arrived, we each went to our own rooms. Lying in bed, the fatigue of the day quickly made me fall asleep. Late at night, I suddenly heard some noise, the sound of a door opening. I vaguely opened my eyes and looked towards the door, seeing a long-haired figure walking into the room. "You?" I rubbed my eyes and called out softly, but there was no response. The cold moonlight shone through the window, perfectly illuminating the person who walked in. In the dim light, I saw that the person was holding something bright and shiny. After a moment of confusion, I suddenly realized it was a knife. I slapped the bedside switch, and the light instantly flooded the room. A grim-faced Shen Yuyu stood there holding a kitchen knife, staring straight at me with eyes full of hatred. I frowned and asked in a cold voice, "What are you doing?" Shen Yuyu didn't say a word, still looking at me expressionlessly, the emotions in her eyes flickering. In the silence, I gradually calmed down. No matter how crazy she was, Shen Yue wouldn't commit murder. At worst, I'd end up in the hospital, and I could use that to cut ties completely and directly ask Father Shen for a divorce. Why are you divorcing me? Shen Yue tightly gripped the knife, her face hostile. Do you have another woman outside? As the words left her mouth. I found it absurd. She was the one thinking about another man, and now she was asking me if I had another woman? I frowned, suddenly feeling that Shen Yue was utterly foreign to me. Do you think I'm that kind of person? In all these years, I've worked hard for the Shen family's business. Unless absolutely necessary for work, I rarely even attend company gatherings, let alone interact with other women. And what is it? Shen Yuyo's delicate face was full of gloom. If you didn't have another woman outside, why would you divorce me? I've made it very clear, I said calmly. There is no love in our marriage, so there's no need to waste each other's time anymore. You came to my father asking for marriage, begging for this wedding in a humble manner, she said coldly. Now you think it's a waste of time? I was stunned. Was I that humble in her eyes? Back then, Shen Yue and her white moonlight, Song Jiang, were madly in love, but unbeknownst to them, the Song family was caught in a turmoil. The entire family was in extreme danger due to a matter involving both the political and commercial sectors, which directly led to the Song family's downfall. Those who needed to be investigated were investigated, and those who needed to be shut down were shut down. During that period, anyone connected to the Song family would suffer bad luck. Shen Yue, however, was too close to Song Jiang and even planned to marry him. Father Shen wanted to eliminate all potential trouble and avoid outside gossip, which is why he hoped I would marry Shen Yue. Although marriage is a lifelong matter, out of gratitude, I agreed and began to play the role of a proper husband. But I never expected that in Shen Yuye's eyes, this became me cutting in and destroying her relationship with Song Jiang, which is why she hated me so much. You're still young. You can find someone more suitable than me, I said calmly, my voice slightly low. Like Song Jiang. When I brought the matter out into the open, Shen Yue was visibly taken aback. Actually, I've always known you never let go of your feelings for him. It's okay. I don't blame you. I was just naive enough to think that as long as I was good enough to you, we could continue this way. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Eventually, we would become a true husband and wife. I gave a self-mocking, bitter smile. But I never thought your refusal to let me touch you was because you were saving your first time for Song Jiang. Clang! The kitchen knife in Shen Yuye's hand fell to the floor. I got up from the bed and picked it up for her reluctantly. It wouldn't be good if you hurt yourself. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow and file for divorce. No! Shen Yue looked at me, her tone panicked. What's wrong? Isn't this what you've always wanted? I asked, and then added, don't worry, I can leave with nothing. Everything I have gained over the years came from the Shen family, so returning it is only right. From now on, I won't owe you anything. Shen Yue shook her head and said coldly, I don't agree. You have to agree even if you don't want to. Do you really want me to be a cuckold? I found it ridiculous. I returned to bed, turned off the light, and ignored Shen Yue. The night passed. I woke up before my alarm clock. The work I did year-round was exhausting. After deciding to divorce Shen Yue, I decided to take a day off to make time to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and finalize the divorce procedures. There's a 30-day cooling-off period. I should move out sooner rather than later, I mumbled, rubbing my messy hair. Otherwise, it'll be awkward seeing each other all the time. When I walked out of my room, I found that Shen Yue had already left. Seeing the breakfast she left on the dining table, I was stunned. Since we got married, Shen Yue never cooked or did housework. I always took care of it. She can cook? I sat down at the table. It was simple preserved egg and lean meat porridge, with the saltiness controlled just right. The simpler the dish, the more it shows a person's cooking skills. I never expected Shen Yue to be so good at cooking. Perhaps I hadn't been worthy of eating her cooking, so I was only finding out now. After eating, I walked into Shen Yuye's room. Neither of our rooms had locks. On our wedding night, she told me she wasn't ready and wouldn't consummate the marriage. I still remember her firm attitude and the undisguised disgust in her tone. So I had always kept my promise and never made any attempts at intimacy. It wasn't until later, when Shen Yuyu's parents mentioned wanting a grandchild, that her attitude changed somewhat. She became less firm and started to plead, asking me to wait a little longer. I respected her wish and rarely even made intimate gestures. I waited until now, only to find out she was preserving her chastity for Song Jiang. Once I saw the truth, nothing else mattered. I just wanted to find the marriage certificate and household registration book to quickly complete the divorce procedure and end this absurd marriage. I searched high and low but couldn't find what I was looking for. It seemed Shen Yuye had deliberately hidden them. Frustrated, I had no choice but to call her, but no one answered, and she didn't reply to my texts. After waiting for most of the day, my phone finally received a message, but it wasn't from Shen Yue. It was a photo from Chen Yu. The picture showed Shen Yue holding Song Jiang's arm, the two of them walking towards a hotel. The moment I saw the photo, I gasped, and my heart felt a complicated, tight pain. Today must be the day Song Jiang returned. Shen Yuyu couldn't even wait for the divorce papers to be filed. She was so eager to meet him and book a room, rushing to put horns on my head. That's why she wouldn't answer the phone or reply to messages. I held my phone, shaking with anger. Shen Yuyu was a woman committing adultery during marriage. I desperately wanted to expose the matter and let others judge. But I had to consider the Shen family's reputation. I could only forcibly suppress my emotions. It wasn't until late at night that Shen Yuke returned, carrying a slight scent of alcohol. When she turned on the light, she noticed me sitting quietly on the sofa. She seemed startled, patting her chest and saying, "Why were you sitting here without the lights on?" I spoke calmly. "Go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me tomorrow and file for divorce first." Didn't I say I don't agree to the divorce? Shen Yue frowned, impatient. After so many years of marriage, can you really just throw away our feelings? Feelings? I found it laughable. I asked, "What feelings do we have? You only have eyes for Song Jiang. Isn't he back? I'm granting you your wish. Once we're divorced, you two can openly book rooms." Shen Yue's expression faltered, then turned to anger. She shrieked, "Fang Yuan, what nonsense are you talking about? I am your wife. Don't you think you're going too far? Didn't you say those words yourself?" I raised an eyebrow. "That your first time must be saved for Song Jiang? Shen Yue, you truly are pure. I have nothing to say to you. Go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me tomorrow." My attitude was firm. This matter was non-negotiable. Shen Yue froze, then immediately changed her expression. She tearfully grabbed my arm. "I was just joking with Xiao Yu. How could I do something like that? Wait a little longer. When I'm ready, I'll give myself to you." As she spoke, she released her hand, looking shy. "You can have your way with me then." If I hadn't heard it with my own ears and had the photo, I might have been fooled by her. But now, I only felt contempt. "Stop putting on an act for me. Give it some time, and you'll probably be pregnant with Song Jiang's child," I said directly. "Will you then claim the child is mine? Make me a cuckold for life?" I pulled out the photo on my phone and held it in front of Shen Yue. She still tried to argue. "This photo was edited. Fang Yuan, you have to believe me." I looked at Shen Yue and felt utterly disgusted. "Do you only admit it when I catch you in the act?" "The matter isn't what you think." Shen Yue grabbed my wrist, panicking. "Song Jiang and I booked 2 rooms. We just rested. We didn't do anything." The excuse was ridiculous. "Shen Yue, don't you find it absurd to fabricate such a lie?" I said coldly. "I can ask someone to check the hotel's check-in records. Do you really want to escalate things that far? I'm trying to save the Shen family's reputation. Don't be ungrateful. Just divorce me tomorrow. Let's part ways with some dignity, okay?" "Impossible!" Shen Yue's emotions instantly surged. She grabbed the fruit knife from the coffee table and held it against her own neck. A red mark instantly appeared on her fair neck. "Are you insane?" I snatched the fruit knife away from her. The unyielding blade sliced my palm, but the pain stimulated my nerves and ignited my temper. "You know what you've done. Stop threatening to kill yourself here. If you want to die, go somewhere far away." Hearing this, Shen Yue stared at me and said, "Feng Yuan, do you really have to be so heartless? Aren't you the one who's being ungrateful?" I stopped holding back and said plainly, You won't agree to a divorce, will you? Fine, let's see what your father has to say about this. Shen Yue instantly grew anxious, even tearing up. No, don't tell him! We can talk this out! There's no need for him to know! I pushed her hand away. I gave you a choice, but you still went to him today. We're finished. I didn't waste any more words and left the house. I spent the night in a hotel, feeling completely relaxed. Early the next morning, I went out. Since Father Shen loves tea, I always brought him a gift. Although the situation was different this time, I made no exception. It was already noon by the time I arrived at the Shen house. Mother Shen saw me and immediately greeted me warmly. Yuan, why are you free to visit today? I heard you're very busy at the company and rush through every meal. I'll cook today, so please eat a lot later, okay? Faced with Mother Shen's warmth, my emotions were complicated. I managed a strained smile. You don't have to go to any trouble, Mom. I have something to discuss with Dad. I'll be leaving soon. Mother Shen waved her hand, feigning anger. Silly child, no matter how busy you are, you must eat well. Don't say another word, Mom's going to cook. Before I could respond, she walked toward the kitchen, giving me no chance to refuse. Father and Mother Shen have always been like this. After Shen Yue and I married, they treated me like their own son. From every perspective, the Shen family was my second home. Unfortunately, because of Shen Yue, I had to leave this home. The Shen family villa has a dedicated tea room. Seeing me carrying bags large and small, Father Shen smiled and said, Yuan, I can't finish all the tea you bring. Didn't I tell you not to bring any last time? After all these years, why are you still so formal when you come home? I put down the items and joked, you like drinking tea, so I buy more. If you had other hobbies, I could switch things up. Father Shen chuckled and shook his head. I'm very comforted that you have this thoughtfulness. Why are you here alone today? Where's Yu? She had something to attend to. I answered simply. After sitting down, I chatted with Father Shen for a while and then said, Dad, I actually came here this time to discuss something with you. Father Shen looked up at me. His usual calm gaze made me a bit nervous, but I still forced myself to say, I'm planning to divorce Yu. What? Father Shen was utterly shocked and nearly stood up from his chair. After a moment of pause, he frowned seriously. Did you two have a fight or a spat? Tell me what's wrong and I'll deal with her. Father Shen knew my character. I would never bring up divorce unless absolutely necessary. I shook my head and said, Dad, after all these years of marriage, Yu and I still sleep in separate rooms. We're just trapped by that marriage certificate, acting as a couple in name only. Yue has always been fixated on Songjiang and has no feelings for me. Now that he's back, I think it's time to end this marriage. Hearing this, Father Shen basically understood. What man could tolerate his wife yearning for another man? After a long silence, Father Shen asked me, Yuan, do you love Yue? At the question, I pursed my lips and fell into silence. Anyone could see my feelings for Shen Yue. Since the marriage, I hadn't just been playing the role of a dutiful husband. Years of dedicated care showed my devotion to Shen Yu. Even though she wouldn't let me touch her, I never did anything inappropriate and never had any ambiguous relationships with other women. I thought time would prove everything, but I never expected that such love would only make me humble, like dust. The moment Songjiang returned, Shen Yue couldn't wait to rush into his arms, making me look as ridiculous as possible. Quote, Yuan, you should know that I truly regard you as a son, Father Shen sighed, a hint of anger in his voice. Yu, that girl, has been a handful since she was little. Since you have feelings for her, let me set her straight. I can surely talk some sense into her. At this point, I still hope to resolve the issue in a gentler way, I said, my voice heavy. If I were to reveal the photos of Shen Yue and Songjiang booking a room, it would destroy not just my marriage, but also break the hearts of Mother and Father Shen. It's not necessary to think that way. Dad, Yu and I have no future. Do you know how I felt when I heard her say with her own mouth that she wouldn't let me touch her because she wanted to save her chastity for Songjiang? It was like 1,000 knives stabbing into my heart, again and again. Who can tolerate a wife's infidelity, even if it's only emotional? I can't overlook it. Although I hadn't finished my sentence and concealed the truth about Shen Yue and Songjiang's hotel room, Father Shen's face still turned incredibly grim. How dare that shameless girl? Aiwan? Don't worry, I'll call her over right now and give you an explanation. At this moment, Shen Yuyu appeared outside the door, looking resentfully at me. Fine, I'll give you an explanation right now. Feng Yuan, you really want to make a scene, don't you? You want a divorce? I brought the documents. I'll grant you your wish. With that, Shen Yue turned and walked out. Although I didn't know why she suddenly appeared, I had already gotten the result I wanted. I never intended to make a fuss or embarrass the Shen family. I just wanted to divorce quickly and completely sever this absurd marriage. I asked for nothing else. Dad, I probably shouldn't call him that anymore. I stood up and bowed deeply to Father Shen. But I will always remember your kindness to me. I am deeply grateful for your care all these years. Ayuan, Father Shen frowned and sighed. After the divorce, you don't plan to keep in touch with us? I smiled but didn't answer. I took a long look at Father Shen and then walked out. At the entrance to the villa, Shen Yue was waiting by the door. I checked the time and said, if we go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now, they should be just finishing their lunch break. Feng Yuan, are you really in such a hurry to divorce me? Shen Yue glared at me, pointing back towards the house. You even went so far as to drag my parents into this. The things I said to Xiaoyu were just a joke. Why did you take it seriously? Nothing really happened between Songjiang and me. Can't you believe me just once? Shen Yue, the truth and the facts don't matter anymore. I shook my head and said calmly. It's simply because I've realized something. All these years, your heart has only held Songjiang. As for me, I was just a nominal husband who used your father to climb the ranks. Since that's the case, I'll grant you your wish. After the divorce, you can openly go to him, completely clean. After all, I still haven't touched you. Hearing this, Shen Yuyu looked somewhat mortified. She said resentfully, after saying all that, aren't you just blaming me for not sleeping with you? I told you to give me some time to prepare. Was that so difficult? Do you look down on me that much? I frowned, wanting to say something, but looking at her self-righteous appearance, I knew there was nothing left to say. Did you bring all the documents? Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I didn't bring them, Shen Yue said coldly, looking like she had no intention of going. She had only acted tough earlier to drive me away from Father Shen. Such a childish action seemed ridiculous. I nodded casually. Fine, then no divorce. At my words, Shen Yuyu's eyes lit up. She was about to speak, but her expression darkened because of my next sentence. Whether we divorce or not, I will be leaving. It doesn't make much difference. What? Shen Yuyu immediately asked. Leaving? Where are you going? I said coolly. That has nothing to do with you, does it? Shen Yuyu grabbed my wrist, looking flustered. We're not divorced yet. How is it none of my business? Even now, do you still want to restrain me with a marriage that exists only in name? I looked straight into her eyes and said silently, from now on, I'll go wherever I want and do whatever I want. You can't control me, and don't ask. Feng Yuan! Shen Yue shouted angrily, then immediately controlled her emotions, softening her tone. Please don't be like this, okay? Let's live a good life. Whatever you want to do, I will support you. She spoke as if making a major decision, her face full of determination. If it were in the past, I would have been very happy. Building a career before settling down. After being married for so long, the final step was having children. But the things I once looked forward to most no longer stirred any emotion in my heart. I had repaid the kindness of the Shen family and let go of my feelings for Shen Yue. Now, I had to leave. From now on, I would only live for myself. Forget it, I said faintly. What I didn't have before, I don't want now. With that, I walked out of the villa courtyard, got into my car, and drove towards my home. Shen Yuyu followed me the entire way in her car. I ignored her. When I arrived home, I immediately began packing. After all those years of living together, I didn't have many possessions. A single suitcase was enough. As I was pulling the suitcase and preparing to leave, Shen Yue blocked the doorway. Can you please not leave? She looked at me, her eyes red-rimmed. Put the luggage down and we'll pretend nothing ever happened. As she spoke, she raised her hand and began undoing the buttons of her shirt. Isn't this what you've always wanted? I'll give it to you. I'll give you everything, okay? As button after button came undone, her white skin beneath the shirt was exposed. I watched Shen Yu calmly, neither speaking nor stopping her. It wasn't until she was left with only her bra that she belatedly recognized the reality. She asked quietly, "Is there really no possibility for us anymore?" I didn't answer, only saying, "Move aside, please." Shen Yu walked heavily to the wall, slowly crouched down, hugged her knees, and began to cry softly. I glanced down at her, a sigh in my heart, and then pulled the suitcase and left. The moment the front gate closed, it cut off all the past. It's finally over. My savings from these years were enough for me to relax for a while. I went to see mountains and the sea. As I galloped on a fine horse across the grassland, I had never felt life to be so unrestrained and happy. One day, I finally received a phone call, a notification from a law firm. It was a divorce lawsuit filed against me by Shen Yu. After I left, there was no need for her to cling to a marriage in name only. Since she didn't love me, and with Songjiang's existence, divorce was just a matter of time. I didn't delay and immediately bought a return plane ticket. Half a day later, I returned to this city full of memories and sorrow. As I walked out of the airport, I couldn't help but feel a little desolate. This city always reminded me of the helplessness and heartache of these past years. Yet it was also where the people I cared about lived, and where traces of my life remained. I shook my head to clear my thoughts and hailed a taxi by the roadside. When I arrived at the law firm, according to the address, I found the entire office empty. "Is anyone here?" I called out, confused. Before I could turn my head, a sharp pain shot through the back of my skull. My vision suddenly went black, and I collapsed unconscious on the floor. I don't know how much time passed. When I opened my eyes again, the surroundings were dark. Through the faint light, I could tell from the rusty, mottled furnishings that this seemed to be an abandoned factory. I heard some movement nearby and struggled to turn my head to look. I saw that Songjiang was also bound and kneeling on the ground. His condition seemed slightly better than mine. His spirit was not completely broken. I frowned and pondered for a moment. Did he stage a kidnapping to see how much Shen Yu loved him? To see if she would abandon me regardless of my life or death? The answer was obvious. There was no need for such an elaborate setup. Or was he trying to tear open my wounds and pour salt on them? A throbbing pain came from the back of my head, and my consciousness began to blur again. I heard footsteps approaching from a distance. I struggled to lift my head and saw Shen Yu carrying a handbag, talking to the kidnappers, seemingly preparing for the ransom. The moment I saw her, a sliver of hope sparked in my heart, but it quickly died out. If it were a choice between the two of us, she certainly wouldn't save me. Thinking this, my head drooped slightly, and I fell back into a coma. Perhaps losing consciousness would make me feel better, at least a temporary escape from this cruel reality. When I awoke from the coma, I smelled the pungent, decaying odor of earth. Where was I now? Before I could figure it out, the intense pain throughout my body almost tore my consciousness apart. It hurt so much. My limbs felt broken. I couldn't muster any strength. The only thing I could feel was pain. My entire body felt like it was falling apart. There wasn't a single spot that didn't hurt. I couldn't check my own condition and could only lie there lifelessly, like a corpse. The surroundings were silent and dark. All that awaited me was death. Sure enough, Shen Yu didn't choose to save me. Why did I still hold a sliver of fantasy back then? On one side was the white moonlight she loved to the bone, and on the other, the fake husband she was forced to marry. Everyone knew how to choose. I don't know why, but thinking about this, an empty pain came from within my heart. Haven't I let go of Shen Yu yet? How ridiculous. Self-mockery and sorrow turned into despair, silently engulfing me. I slowly closed my eyes, waiting for death to come. Mom? Dad, are you waiting for me? My life has been so tiring. The hurried sound of police sirens broke the deadly silence, urging me to open my eyes as they grew nearer. A beam of searchlight hit me. I heard someone shout loudly, "They're here! The people are here!" Several figures rushed towards me. Someone urgently said, "Hold on! Hold on!" I wanted to persist. but my eyelids grew heavier and heavier. Before losing consciousness, I could only feel myself being lifted onto a stretcher, and then I lost all awareness. When I regained consciousness again, I smelled the acrid scent of disinfectant. I tried to open my eyes and look around, but I couldn't. I seemed to have lost control of my body. A familiar voice reached my ears. "Doctor, when will he wake up?" I listened carefully and quickly recognized it as Chen Yu speaking. Then another voice replied. "The patient has suffered extremely cruel torture, with multiple external wounds and internal bleeding. These injuries can slowly heal, but the patient's brain also suffered severe trauma, damaging the nerves. He is very likely to become a vegetable." My heart sank sharply at the words. A vegetable? I struggled to get up, but no matter how hard I tried, only waves of weakness came from my body. I couldn't move even one finger. If this is the case, it would have been better not to save me. I yearned for freedom and could accept death, but I didn't want to live as a disabled person. Chen Yu talked with the doctor a lot more, but I couldn't hear clearly anymore. It wasn't until he sighed and sat down by the bed that he spoke to me. "Yuan, why is fate so unfair? Misfortune always seems to target the unfortunate. Your aunt and uncle left early, leaving you alone, and you fell in love with a woman who wasn't worth loving. Shen Yuyi and Song Jiang were entangled. What kind of mess is that? It makes people laugh when it gets out." Although she later realized her mistake and talks about you all the time, if it weren't for her, how would you have been hurt like this? As Chen Yu rambled on, I learned many things. It turned out that after I left, Shen Yuyu began to feel deep regret. Song Jiang, unable to accept this, planned the kidnapping to find out who Shen Yuyu truly loved. At that time, Shen Yuyu did not choose him. She chose me. Song Jiang was furious and immediately decided to retaliate. He sent people to capture Shen Yue and force her to watch me being brutally beaten, which was the source of my injuries. Afterwards, Song Jiang tied Shen Yue up elsewhere, leaving her to wait for death in regret, hunger, and cold. Shen Yue was missing for several days. The Shen family quickly launched an investigation and traced it back to Song Jiang, without much effort. Through some means, they forced him to disclose Mayat Setap and Shen Yuyu's location. The police arrived quickly. Fortunately, the time we were trapped was not too long, and both Shen Yue and I survived. However, her condition wasn't good either. She was also in a coma and recuperating in the next room. After hearing all this, my heart was a mix of emotions. I was happy that Shen Yue chose me, but also regretted leaving her to Song Jiang. Knowing someone's face does not mean knowing their heart. Who could have guessed that Song Jiang was so insane that he could commit such an extreme and dangerous act? If I hadn't come back, what would have happened to Shen Yue falling into his clutches? I didn't dare to think about it. In the darkness of my coma, I heard a familiar voice again. "Yuan!" Father Shen's voice carried intense sorrow. It seemed he had also learned about my condition from the doctor. A pair of warm hands gripped mine. Mother Shen was equally sad, saying, "Poor child, oh my, what are we going to do?" Sensing the emotions in their voices, a warm current flowed through my heart. The Shen family had always treated me like their own son. Weren't Father and Mother Shen my parents too after I married Shen Yuyu? I wanted to get better quickly. I wanted to get up and give them a hug. This world was still beautiful, and there were people worth cherishing. I absolutely could not just lie here. An unprecedented conviction filled my entire heart. I felt my heart beat, each beat stronger than the last. Chen Yu nearby whispered in surprise, "Yuan's heart rate has changed. He can hear us. He can feel us." But I could only manage this reaction. In the long darkness, I couldn't distinguish day from night. I could only gauge the time by the nurses on duty, and about 10 days passed by the end of the month. One evening, Shen Yue, whose injuries had not yet fully healed, came to my room. She sobbed, "Yuan, I miss you so much." I could feel her carefully burying her head in my chest. Her voice was muffled. "I miss you so much! Please wake up quickly, okay? We haven't divorced yet. I promise to be sensible and be the most virtuous wife in the world." My years of tireless effort finally received a response at this moment. Suddenly, my finger twitched. "I'll take that as a promise, okay?" Time passed. One evening, the sunset was long and the sky was incredibly colorful. Shen Yuyu stood prominently at the company entrance, holding a bouquet of flowers with incredible flair. For 2 years, she came on time every day to wait for me to get off work. "Mr. Fang, Miss Shen is here every day, a rich young lady chasing you. Aren't you going to give her a chance after all this time? Such a devoted girl, it's beyond envy." Listening to my colleagues' words, I smiled without speaking. When I walked out of the main door, Shen Yuio quickly jogged towards me, her steps incredibly cheerful. "Ayuan, I've been chasing you for so long. Give me some kind of response." I raised an eyebrow, smiling but saying nothing. She placed the flowers in my arms. "Accepting my flowers counts as a response then."